Hey there, it feels like we're constantly being pulled in a million different directions, right? With all the scrolling, the trends, all this pressure to fit in, it's so easy to just lose sight of who you are, who you're really meant to be. Well, today we're going to look at the incredible life of a young man who figured out a different way, a path to live with real, genuine purpose and joy.
Wow. Let that sink in for a second. This quote from Carlo Acutis himself it hits you, doesn't it? Everyone is born unique, but many die as photocopies. It's a huge challenge. He's basically saying we all start out as originals, but the world around us is constantly trying to press copy-paste on our souls. And for Carlo, that was the great struggle of our time. So let me ask you, really think about it. In this world of endless trends and social media pressure, how do you stay, well, you? It's tough, right? It's a constant battle. But what if I told you there was a kind of playbook for this, a guide to becoming the original person you were born to be? Because a young man from our time, Carlo Acutis, he found one.
Okay, so the first thing you have to understand about Carlo is that he wasn't some saint in a stuffy old painting. He was a regular teenager, just like us. He loved his PlayStation, he was a total computer geek, played soccer with his friends, and was obsessed with his 4 dogs. He was completely normal. But he paired all that normal stuff with something totally extraordinary, a deep, powerful faith that he lived out every single day.
And get this, he was so good with technology that Pope Francis, no joke, called him an influencer for God. Just think about that for a second. He looked at the internet and all this modern tech, and he saw how it could be used to trap us, to make us into those photocopies. But he decided to flip the script. He used it for the exact opposite purpose, to share what he found to be true and beautiful with the entire world. And the websites he created? They're still being used all over the globe today. It's incredible.
So, how did he do it? How did he pull this off? Well, here's the really cool part. His life basically gives us a simple 3-step playbook for what he called his highway to heaven. And this isn't about doing some huge, impossible things. It's all about small, daily choices, a commitment to living life a little differently. So, let's break it down.
All right, step 1, use your gifts for good. Think about it. We all have something we're good at, right? For Carlo, it was computers. He was a total natural. But here's the key. Instead of just using that talent for himself, maybe to make money or get famous, he gave it away. He put it at the service of other people. He was building websites for his church, for charities. He'd even help his friends from school with their computer stuff and never expected anything back.
This next quote was one of Carlo's absolute favorites. And man, it just sets up the second step of his playbook perfectly. It's a real gut punch, isn't it? It reminds us that for Carlo, compassion wasn't just some nice idea you talk about. Nope, for him, it had to be about real, face-to-face human connection.
And he didn't just talk the talk, he walked the walk every single day. He would literally save up his pocket money to buy sleeping bags for homeless people he'd see on the street. And at school, if he saw a kid getting picked on, he was the first one to step in, to defend them, to befriend them. He didn't just see people, he saw the divine in every single person.
Okay, now we get to the third and, honestly, the most crucial part of his playbook. It's all wrapped up in his most famous quote. You could say this was his source code, the power plant that fueled everything else he did in his life.
See, for Carlo, this wasn't about some boring religious duty. It wasn't just a ritual. For him, spending time before the Eucharist every day was a real conversation. It was a personal relationship. It's like plugging your phone in to recharge. This was where he got all that incredible joy, that kindness, that boundless energy that everyone who met him talked about. This relationship was the engine driving his whole life.
But then, in October 2006, when he was just 15 years old, this entire playbook, everything he believed, was put to the ultimate test. And it happened so fast, it's just staggering. One day, he's coming home from school feeling a little tired. A week later, he's in the hospital, diagnosed with one of the most aggressive forms of leukemia imaginable. Just like that, in a matter of days, his life was on the line.
And listen to this. As they were admitting him to the hospital, he turned to his mom. Can you even imagine having the strength to say something like this? His very first thought wasn't about his own fear or what was happening to him. It was about comforting his mother. He looked reality straight in the face with this just breathtaking sense of peace.
What he did in the hospital, it just left the doctors and nurses completely speechless. He was in excruciating pain. But when they'd come in, he would say, "I offer all this suffering for the Pope and for the Church." And when they'd ask him, "Carlo, how are you feeling?" He would just smile and say, "I'm fine. There are people out there who are suffering way more than I am." I mean, he was living out his playbook, right to the very, very end.
So, what's the secret? What's the core of his whole message? It's right here in this quote. He's saying that sadness, it's just looking at yourself. When we get totally wrapped up in our own worries, our own image, our own problems, that's a recipe for sadness. But happiness? Happiness is looking toward God. It's turning your gaze outward and upward towards something bigger than yourself. That's where you find the real stuff, the lasting joy.
So where does that leave us? What's the big takeaway here? Well, Carlo's life isn't just a sad story. It's an invitation. It's a path laid out for you and me. First, figure out what your unique gifts are. What are you amazing at? Second, take those gifts and use them to help other people, not just to get ahead yourself. Third, find your own source of strength, something that's bigger than all the temporary stuff. And finally, just live. Live every single moment with purpose and with joy.
You know, Carlo really believed deep down that our lives aren't just random. We're not just cosmic accidents. He saw our existence here on Earth as a journey with a real destination, a beautiful, profound meeting. And our whole purpose, he said, is to run towards that meeting, to make our entire lives a concrete step in that direction.
And that brings us right back to where we started. Carlo Acutis made a choice. He refused to be a photocopy. He chose to be an original. And in doing that, he built a life just overflowing with meaning and joy. So the question isn't about him anymore, it's about you. What are you going to do to be an original? What's one small thing you can do today to start becoming that unique, incredible person you were born to be?